Why does smacking not work?
So, children have a foundational, universal for all of history and will be true for all of future to come need for connection and attachment. Human infants can't survive without somebody loving on them in some way. And then you think about what is a smack, or in my part of the world, we call it spank. You're a human child.
Yeah.
Connection is your air. And then the person that's meant to be providing all of that connection separates from you in one of the most egregious ways by physically hurting you. Parents will then often say, but what's the problem at work? And the question that we have to ask ourselves is, at what cost? Like, you just paid a huge price to get your child to behave, to get them to conform, to get them to not do that thing again. And the cost was you taught them this lesson, the lesson that connection, their air, connection is conditional, and it's contingent upon, air quotes, good behavior. And I say air quotes good behavior because little Isabella, when she's 18 months old, she's meant to push back. And when she's 2.5, she's meant to be full of sass and melting down on the ground a couple times a day. She's meant to do those things because that's how big her brain is. That's how tall her brain is. And then we make her wrong for that. It'd be like me being made wrong for having green eyes. I can't change that about myself. Like a 2.5-year-old can't change that they have a 2.5-year-old brain. And so what they need in those moments is not to be, through fear and through shame, forced to conform and to shelf their own development in the service of the relationship. What they need is for the relationship to reach into the emotional brain via the bridge of co-regulation and settle that brain down. And then they need that to be repeated tens of thousands.
What do you see as some of the consequences down the line of kids being spanked?
One of the things is that you onboard a message that in order to be loved, you must perform. And so if they feel that and they have that message, then they're going to feel like they need to perform in order to fit in order to be loved. Or maybe it's that they're at school and they're struggling and they're not getting the grades that they need. And then they start to develop, around 13, 14, this depression, this anxiety, these kinds of things, because they actually believe I'm not a good human because I don't do well at school. Whereas if they had this sort of unconditional sense of love for self that arose out of an experience historically of being unconditionally loved on by their parents, then they go forward and they're able to either love themselves unconditionally or have love for self be conditional